You are highly skilled. The job description basically describes you. You've researched the company, and you were dressed to kill when you walked into that interview. So, why didn't they hire you? You have a blind spot that is preventing you from starting your career on purpose. For the best tips and advice for all things career and purpose, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to be notified every time I post a new video. There is nothing more frustrating than doing all of this preparation for a job interview only to get the email that the employer chose somebody else. Introverts can be especially susceptible to this surprise snub. But what could you possibly be doing wrong when you've taken all of the right steps? Stay tuned for this quick video to learn how you're subconsciously turning off employers. Well, for one thing, you're probably not really showing your personality. And I mean, it's just a trait of being an introvert, right? We're just kind of internal. We can be in our heads and we're not really paying attention to how that's showing up. But in most cases, this is the first thing that turns them off. Employers cannot read you to determine how you'll fit in. It's one thing to show up and look the part, but if they don't know what makes you move, if they can't get a sense of your personality, then they can't add you to their team. It also means that it looks like you could be hiding something when you are so stoic that you can't be read, or you're just answering the questions. And I mean, maybe you're pleasant, but they need to get a feel for you. And if they can't, there's like a wall up where employers ask, is there something they don't want us to know? And you definitely don't want that. Or, and I've been accused of this, and I've interviewed people who have done the same thing, where your energy gives off that you really don't want to be there. And yes, in theory, you showed up, right? So obviously you want to be there, but your tone, and maybe it could be nerves, or you're just trying to make sure that you say everything just as you practiced it or rehearsed it or whatever. But it gives off this energy of like, I really don't want to be here. And if you give that off, the employer is like, well, then I don't want you here. Plain and simple. Number two, you're not really promoting your brand. You know, I'm all about personal branding. And if you show up and have done the work and everything is in your head and it's not being presented, they can't tell what it is that makes you shine. What differentiates you from other candidates? Of course, by the time you get to an interview, they've determined to some degree that you can do the job. But what's that packaging? What is it where they know when you show up? I know if I'm hiring Davina, I'm going to get X, 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 and X. Not, okay, I'm reading off their resume and they can do things, they can accomplish tasks. What are you pioneering? That's why personal branding is super important. If they're not clear on how you shine, then they can't really determine how you'll make a difference for them. Most employers are not just looking to have bodies or fill a task, they're looking to move the needle. And that's what a personal brand does. It says, this is why you should pick me up off the shelf. It shows them all of the benefits that they get for working with you. And that's important. They should be able to see that off the gate with you in person, to where everything that they read about you is jumping off the paper. How many interviews have you gone on before you realize that, oops, I might be the problem? It's okay to be honest here. It's a safe space, because I have gone through that myself. So comment below with the moment that you realize that you were the problem. The third reason that you may not be getting hired is that you're reflecting too long on the answers. And I'm saying this as a very reflective person. I just like to think about stuff before I answer it. And no matter how much you jump and snap your fingers at me or whatever, I need a minute to think. It just is what it is. But again, as introverts, we go inward first, right? And we can tend to be in our heads a bit more. But when you're reflecting too long to answer a question, it looks like you don't know what you're talking about. Or they get bored and they start thinking about what they're going to do once they finish your interview. So you'll lose their attention. I'm not saying as soon as they answer a question, it's like you're waiting on the buzzer to be like, ha, right, to answer immediately as soon as they finish their sentences, because then you're just too eager and that's off putting too. But take a moment, especially if it's something you didn't prepare for. Take a beat, but don't take 6 beats. Like don't leave mentally the interview and then come back because they won't be there. And then of course you look unprepared. Um, and if you look unprepared, they're like, well, if you're going to be unprepared in this interview, you're going to be unprepared when you show up to work. So just keep in mind, be confident that they chose you for a reason, right? And that you know exactly how you can help this company, why you're the right person for the job. So let the confidence rise up in you so that you're not taking too long to answer questions. So those are the 3 reasons why introverts aren't getting the job after the interview. Think about which of these has really sabotaged you the most and begin to come out of your shell and put most of your attention, practice, and get feedback in that particular area. For those of you who are considering stepping into leadership positions, check out my video, Can Introverts Be Effective Leaders? To learn how you've already got what it takes, you just need to let it shine. If you like this video, make sure you comment on it, subscribe to it, and share it with your friends who are in need of a career transformation and ultimately getting hired. All right, I'll see you in the next video.